The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
This is The Alpha Sessions. I'm Emma and I'm here with Minnie Birch. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm really good, thank you.
Thanks so much for coming down to the studio. I said this off air. We've basically wanted to get you on the show since pretty much we started Alpha Sessions, which was nearly 11 years ago. So yeah, thanks very much.
I'm glad
I
I
feel
made
like
it.
this is long awaited.
Yeah, it's really nice to be here. Thank you.
It's also really funny because there's kind of like a small folky artist world, and we get a lot of artists on the show, and 9 times out of 10 they know someone else that we've had on the show, and your name has just kept popping up over time. So yeah, like I said, I feel like this is quite long awaited.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear that your fellow musicians would recommend you. That's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why, but I feel like you will hang out in this parallel universe and go to the pub and hang out.
Yeah, we do a lot of the time. Yeah, which is quite nice.
Cool. So how did the music thing start for you?
I think possibly how it started for a lot of people. I kind of joined a band when I was in secondary school, a really cool kind of grungy punk band. So yeah, I didn't get my first guitar till I was about 11 or 12, so maybe a bit late in the grand scheme of
Not sure about that.
becoming I haven't been playing the violin since I was 3 or anything like that. My family aren't super musical. My granddad's quite musical. My mum and dad are massive music fans and fed me a lot of music. But yeah, so secondary school's when it started.
What kind of
for me.
music did you get fed when you were growing up?
Everything. So I definitely remember my dad had his vinyl collection, and me and my sister would make up dance routines, and I remember
Amazing.
doing a Black Sabbath dance routine.
How does that work? I don't think I've ever seen a Black Sabbath dance routine before.
And Mr. Big, I don't know if that's Mr. Big, a song about like you are 22 or something. I remember me and my sister doing
So funny.
dance routines to that, and then Mel and Kim, things
Yeah.
like this. Probably really showing my age here, but yeah, listening to my dad's records are nice. And my parents are cool, they've constantly listened to new music. My dad introduced me to Rage Against the Machine when I was a teenager.
That is
so
cool.
yeah, it was quite nice to have that influence constantly from them.
So would you say your initial kind of grungy style band was inspired by the likes of Rage Against the Machine, and sort of bands of that genre, if you like?
Yeah, my sister, who's slightly older than me, that's kind of what she was listening to, and I think
Okay.
I just copied her.
Yeah.
But then the beauty of that is that you kind of had this attitude 3 chords and the truth, that's all we needed. So you could put a band together really quickly, and I think that was a really nice, it wasn't an exclusive club, because
Yeah.
you could just, as long as you learnt a few power chords, you were in the club, and
Yeah.
that's what was really nice about making music at that time.
Yeah. And then, so what happened after that?
I think eventually it just got harder hopefully the band's changed and got a little bit more better than just 3 chords and the truth. But eventually people went to university and went travelling and had kids and all of those things that happen as you get older that made it harder to keep the band together, and I found myself kind of playing on my own. And
So you flew the nest?
yeah, and just by accident really, because I never sang lead vocal in any of these bands. I always did harmonies or things like that. And
Was it weird at the beginning?
yeah, definitely. I think you feel quite naked without having other people to play with, but there's quite a freedom in it. And I found I met more people, travelling with the girls I used to play with when I was younger. We kind of had ourselves, and I thought, if I travel around on my own, will I be lonely? But I think you present a chemistry of sorts when you're on your own, and strangers adopt you more.
Oh,
do you know
that's
what
really
I mean?
nice,
So
yeah.
I actually found more friends and more comfort and made more connections.
Because people make
on
the
my
effort
own.
more because you're right.
Yeah, I think they're like, oh, she's all alone. Let's go and talk to her. Whereas if you're with your
Oh.
friends, you're having fun, but people rarely think, oh, I'll go and talk to that group.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so you
Can be
get
quite
adopted
cliquey.
more. Yeah, so that's nice.
And you were also Radio 1's BBC introducing Artist of the Week with Hugh Stevens.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was, a lovely opportunity. It was really nice. And when they email you, obviously it's the producer that emails you. So I really contemplated, I just don't want to reply to this. One of my friends having a wind up, so I'm going to play it very cool. Because I was like, this can't be happening. And yeah, it was really lovely. It was quite a few years back now, but it's still kind of top line of my bio or whatever. And having the play was lovely, and it reached lots of other people, and it gave me a real confidence boost of like,
So for
wow.
people that don't know, what does that mean? Like, what does that entail?
So being chosen as the artist. Hugh Stevens' show, they used to just have like all the local BBC introducers would send in their kind of top artist of the week, and he would choose somebody to
So it's
get
really
the Radio
like the
1
best
play.
of the best.
Yeah, and it was exciting for us because the team that were working at 3 Counties, which is my local BBC studio at the time, when I went in to see them afterwards, they were like, it was our first Radio 1 play too. And we were all like, yeah, it's our first Radio 1 play. And yeah, it was a really lovely, quite surreal thing. And I always like just say to people, oh yeah, I got played on Radio 1. And I don't tell them what time of day. If they know when Hugh Stevens' show used to go out, then they know. If they don't, I don't tell them it was like 1 a.m.
Also though, like, even if it was 1 a.m, and I think radio stations do this, like you get the cool kind of niche up and coming music at that time of day, and I think that's a really cool time of day to be played. Way better than like mid-morning, so that's fine. Yeah,
no, it was really nice, and as I say, it's kind of an opportunity that still opens other doors, because it gives you that validation, maybe that somebody thought, oh, Hugh liked it, maybe we should listen to it.
Was that what happened?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's hard to tell, isn't it? But the things you put in your bio or put out there, but I definitely think that it gives you that, like, that validation or confidence in yourself to be like, well, Radio 1 chose me, so maybe I should go bother the Alpha sessions and see if they'll choose me. And yeah, it's just a really nice boost.
You can bother the Alpha sessions anytime you like.
Thanks.
You also came up in BuzzFeed's top 10 British songwriters, which again is so awesome. And when you have, and I always want to know this, when you have loads of amazing accolades, when you put new stuff out, do you feel like there's pressure to continue that?
I think so, but a healthy pressure. And I think also the Radio 1 play for me was quite a learning curve, in the sense that when I got that, I was like, well, that's it. I'm going to be Taylor Swift by morning.
Peaked, yeah.
Like, it's going to all spiral now. And actually, I was like, oh, it hasn't. And I'm still having to graft at stuff, and it doesn't all just snowball automatically. So I think when things like BuzzFeed and stuff come along now, I just learned to really enjoy that moment.
Absolutely.
But I think when I was younger, I was thinking, what does this moment mean? What will happen next? Whereas now I'm just like, this is sick. This is really cool. I'm really proud of this. Let's just enjoy this thing rather than wondering what this thing will lead to.
Say goodnight and goodbye, and I wait and I watch with the light. And I stand at the door, hear your bones going more through the night. Cause you keep on growing at such an alarming rate. Buy you old boats and new shoes, they're tied up with a rope for the legs. Yeah, you keep on growing at such an alarming rate. The more room you take up, the more I find I have the space. Say goodnight, not goodbye. Now we both share exactly the same bedtime. And I don't wait by your door. You don't need me no more, and that's fine. Cause you keep on growing at such an alarming rate. Buy you old boats for new shoes, tied up with a rope for the legs. You keep on growing at such an alarming rate. The more room you take up, the more I find I have the space. You keep on growing at such an alarming rate. They buy you old boats for new shoes, and they're tied up with a rope for the lake. You keep on growing at such an alarming rate. But the more room you take up, the more we find we have the space.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
Talk us through your songwriting process. How does that work?
It varies a little, but generally, I don't know how to say this without sounding like cheesy or pretentious.
It can be as cheesy and as pretentious. I don't think you know how to be pretentious.
It is just my truth. I will sometimes get an overwhelming urge that I have a song in me, and I can feel it in my fingers almost, and I have to just get to a guitar and play, and they usually come out like 90% done in one go.
So what happens if you're out and about and your guitar's at home and you have to make that journey back? Say it's like a big travelling, you've gone, I don't know, 2 hours away. Like, do your fingers start tingling?
Yeah, I do. That sounds silly, but I get like a little kind of agitated feeling, and I will take my iPhone to wherever I can privately and record something.
Wow.
And I do hear a lot of musicians saying that, or a lot of people about anything. Like, if you have a thought in that moment, you need to get it down or it goes.
Yeah.
Like, and that's maybe the bit that sounds a bit pretentious, because it feels to me like it's almost not of you.
Has it ever gone before you've got it down?
Yeah, loads of times, but I like to tell myself that they weren't the good ones.
Okay.
That if it's good, it will stay.
Yep.
Or it will find its way back to me.
So that process, does it all come at once, or does the melody come first, or the lyrics? Or?
Yeah, in the main, it will come all at once if
Okay.
I'm with my guitar.
Wow.
But a lot of the time, if I'm not, it will just be like a melody with lyrics into my phone, and then that can end up sounding quite different, because there's a gap between what I can hear in my head and what I can play with my hands. And that's my life's work, is to close the gap. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Because I think my imagination is more than my skill.
But then is there also a gap between playing it and then getting into the studio?
Yeah.
Or is that gap closed by the time it gets to the...
Yeah, I think, and they change a little bit as well between that time, I think, don't they? Like, for a lot of musicians, I'll say they gig something and it changes, or you realise something isn't working quite so well. And then when I've been in the studio, it's been really nice to work with, like, other musicians or a producer, because I've worked with Lauren Deacon-Davies, Dee Dee, who you've
She's
had
been on the show as well.
Yeah.
She's great.
And she's really good at, like, making tangible what you're saying you want something to sound like, and she'll hear something and just hear you describing it, and she's very much like, this is what we need. And so that's nice that it becomes kind of collaborative. Like, on my last album, she is like the second band member. Like, the production is really important. Like, it really changed how it sounded, and she closed the gap.
So did you kind of say to her, look, I want it to be like this, or did she come out with that all on her own?
Bits of both.
Okay.
So I think the songs are pretty much done, but it's usually just me and my guitar, and I will say, like, I imagine this bit, or I imagine that. And I really like space in music. I think silence is really important.
I think it's underrated quite a lot.
And Lauren's kind of quite the opposite, I think, if she wouldn't mind me saying. She quite likes a production. So I think we make for quite a good team, because we do pull a song into a different place.
Like a balance.
And then hopefully there's a balance. But yeah, she's kind of taught me how you can layer space.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah,
I think so. And how much of your music is based on personal experience in the songwriting process?
I think all of it. I think even when you're trying to tell someone else's story, it's your side, isn't it? It's your view. And even the songs that I'm not 100% sure yet what they're about, like, you can't help that you've put a bit of you into it.
Yeah,
so
I think
me and some musicians were chatting on Twitter the other day.
I was about to bring this up. I think
did you see that?
Yeah.
Because I did have that thought of, like, gosh, I've never actually dated a songwriter, and I just think what a lot of access that is when you first meet someone, if you've heard their music. So say you go on a first date. It's kind of like
having access to their brain.
Well, they mention they're musicians, so by the second or third date, you check out their SoundCloud or whatever. Like, imagine having that access.
Have you ever had that in reverse?
No, I don't think I haven't. I've never dated someone who puts their creativity out there. So like with music or art or something you can dig into, you have to like get to know that person.
It must make you feel a bit naked in that way, like quite vulnerable, because they've basically got access to your brain.
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of. But then I guess...
But then they haven't, have they? Because things get interpreted so differently
Yeah,
that I suppose their reaction to your music gives you the access to their brain. So it becomes quite an equal like transaction.
Yeah.
Because they could say something really exposing, like, oh, that song you wrote about such and such. You know, it's
Yeah.
not about that at all. What's wrong with you? But yeah, it is an interesting idea that you put so much privateness, I guess, out there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's a strange choice.
But also an outlet at the same time, and I think
Yeah.
often if you didn't have that outlet, then it would need to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Where do other people put it?
Don't know.
They're keeping a really good lid on things. I respect the
I bring it to
the
alpha sessions.
non-songwriters. I think I'd have gone mad.
So, like, how does it work? Do you sort of write a load of songs together, or is it as and when? Like, obviously with your album that you worked on with Lauren, did you kind of have all the songs prepared, or did you write them specifically for the album? How does all of that work?
And with both my albums,
Yeah.
they have been completely prepared except for one song, which is
Okay.
written during the process of making the album.
Was
And
it about making the album?
Yeah, one of them was.
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
there's a song on my first album, Floundering, called Unraveling, and it's basically about the process of making an album, putting so much of your time, space, energy and money into this that everything is unraveling around you. So that was kind of the cliffhanger to the next. Yeah, but I've not had the luxury very often of just booking a week or two in the studio. I kind of snatch days around working full time and things, so the actual process of recording is usually spread out. So sometimes you will have written something new that you're like, maybe I do want that to be on the album now. So but my friend Lizzie Hardingham just released an album, and she put a song on there that she'd written like 2 weeks before the release date of the album. Yeah, she just shoehorned it on there because I think you do really love your latest song.
Yeah.
So if you were about to do a release, I guess it would have been hard for her to think I'll leave it off. So yeah, she just shoehorned it on like 2 weeks before she actually was like, it was going to be printed and launched at her
The pressure
gig.
on that must have been mental.
Yeah, I think mine were printed and ready to go at that stage. 2 weeks.
Some people do
She's a
bear
very
under
relaxed,
pressure.
chilled person.
Yeah.
She was cool.
That's like leaving your homework the night before, isn't it?
Yeah, she's one of those.
My bunny lies over the ocean. My bunny lies over the sea. My bunny lies over the ocean. Oh, bring back my bunny to me. Oh, blow your winds over the ocean. Oh, blow your winds over the sea. Oh, blow your winds over the ocean. Oh, bring back my bunny to me. Oh, bring back bring back my bunny to me. Oh, bring back my bunny to me. Last night as I lay on my pillow, last night as I lay on my bed, last night as I lay on my pillow, I dreamed my poor bunny was dead. So bring back, oh bring back, just bring back my bunny to me. Oh bring back my bunny to me. Just bring back my bunny to me. Oh, bring back my bunny are blown over the ocean, the winds are blown over the sea, the winds are blown over the ocean, and they've brought back my Bonnie to me. Oh, bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie to me. Oh, bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie, bring back my Bonnie to me.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
We spoke about your music up until now and the artists that you loved kind of when you were much younger, but what kind of artists do you listen to now?
Mostly the other artists within the scene.
Okay.
I think for two reasons. One, because you get so busy gigging that they're the only other artists that come across your field. But number two, there's just so many good artists around at the moment.
100%.
I mean, in the scene wider across the UK, but I think the area that I'm from, like Beds, Herts and Bucks and out to this area, they're like, there's something in the water, I think. And I think that's partly to do with, well, people like yourselves, people like Helen Meisner from Folkstock that create spaces where people can come and do their music. And I think once there's those opportunities, it grows, and people like you saying that other musicians have recommended me to come, people are all supporting each other.
Absolutely.
And then it is just from that, it creates like a healthy competition, and the musicians around here are just amazing. So I've mostly just listened to a lot of Zoe Wren, who I think has been on your show. Another Zoe I really like is Zoe Kones, amazing guitar player.
She's hosted some gigs at the Finsbury that we've seen actually.
Yes, yeah. Like her Stop, Look, Listen nights.
Yes,
yeah.
So we've been to a couple of them.
So that's, cool. So there's a band local to me called Lakes who were like just put an album out, and it's just fantastic. It's more kind of like that old kind of emo rock sound. Like, it's really nice. I'm not sure if that's what they'd call themselves. I hope they don't hear this in case that's offensive. I think it sounds a bit emo. Just listen to like local music. So.
Do you think you kind of inject that into your music as you write?
Yeah, I think without meaning to, maybe you probably do. I mean, my favourite artist at the moment is a guy called Chris Cleverly, and I couldn't dream of writing or playing like him, but it's again that like gap thing I try. So because I haven't quite hit him, I've created my own thing instead. Yeah, if that makes sense. So the influence is there, but it's not a carbon copy, because it couldn't be if it tried.
That's great.
It's got a bit of Minnie in it.
Do you feel like your sound has evolved over the years without realising?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've done the folk thing backwards. I think a lot of musicians that I meet have started out doing traditional folk songs and then kind of felt brave enough to put their own songs out there. Whereas I've always been a singer-songwriter, and then people are like, oh, you're quite folky, come and play this folk club. And I've discovered folk later, and it's the more traditional stuff has started weaving its way in. So I think it's got more kind of acoustic.
Acousticy.
Yeah, acousticy, folky. Great word.
And what about venues? So you've obviously done loads of gigging. Do you have a favourite venue?
Oh, that's a good question. I was really fortunate to play at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, so that was a really nice treat. And you queue up for hours to play there, and then at the end of the night they invite up a couple and maybe like 3 artists that have played that night that they want to see play again, and they chose me to get up again. So it was a really nice moment, because I'd flown a long way and queued for quite a long time, and I'd only played my one song, so then they get you back up if they want you. But more locally, I quite like the kind of, we've got some really lovely cute, I would call, boutique places, because there's a cafe in Watford called the LP Cafe, and it's a coffee shop, vinyl shop. If you've never been there, I feel like you'd love it. I've never been there,
I
feel
but
like you
talking to me now makes me want to go. Can we go now?
And I want to say it must be like...
What's it called again?
The LP Cafe.
The LP, very nice.
It must be like 2.5 times size this room that we're in. It's Diddy, but they host gigs and stuff there.
That's really awesome.
And that's one of my favourite venues. It's just really intimate, totally unplugged usually, really chill. You can buy a record, get a hot chocolate, get a slice of vegan cake. So it's a really nice place. You should check it out if you're ever in Watford. Yes.
We used to live in Watford, so that's
cool. Yeah, check it out.
And if you could have, flipping that on its head, if you could have a dream gig in a dream venue.
that's such a good question. I've opened up at St Pancras Old Church in King's Cross.
That's a beautiful venue.
So yeah, it was. I've had the good fortune of opening for other artists there twice,
Cool.
and I guess a dream would be to headline it, to kind of fill that space.
Still
and
quite
play
intimate.
That. It is, yeah. I'm not sure how many people can fit in there, but
I'm trying to visualise
probably,
it.
probably a few.
Yeah.
You squeeze them in on the pews, but that is like, yeah. a
Is that still an
beautiful
active
place.
church? Do you know?
I think so. From when I've been there gigging, you get the impression from the stuff on the boards and stuff that it is. Yeah.
Nice. So good. And if you could headline that stage with anyone, who would it be with?
Oh, another fantastic question.
Oh, we keep them coming here.
So that's that's tricky though, because if I was headlining, it would get, most of the people you dream of playing with, that would be very topsy turvy. So
It does colour.
So Arnie DeFranco, American singer-songwriter,
Okay.
I would love to play a gig with her. Like, yeah, she's my like favourite of all time, and yeah, that would be good. I'd have her on the bill. And a band that I really love at the moment, they're a duo, is a band called Stables. I think I'd have them there as well. That would make a very cool night. Yeah.
So what have you got planned musically for the rest of the year?
It's a bit of an odd one in some ways, because I joined a band. So I'm doing a wee bit less of my solo stuff, because I joined Said the Maiden, who are like a St Albans, Bedford-based folk band.
Nice.
They've been singing together for years. There's 3 of them, and one of the members has moved on to do other things. So I've like stepped in.
Wow.
So it's quite like scary, because they have this perfect "we've been singing together for years" kind of sound.
Is that a
to
bit
it.
intimidating?
It is, yeah. It's good fun and it's a good challenge, but it is like a bit kind of scary, because I think all the hard work in the world, you just need to be singing together for years for that sound to happen. So yeah, I'm gigging with them for the rest of autumn, which is really
Awesome.
exciting.
Yeah,
we just
that's
had
really
our
cool.
like first gig together like
How'd it
the
go?
other week. It went really well, which is nice, and it's like we finished playing and I was like, the world is still turning. Couldn't believe, when you haven't quite appreciated how much pressure you've put on yourself until something's over, and then you're like, it was such a lovely night, but I was like, I'm just going to take myself upstairs into the bathroom and have a little cry.
Oh,
Because we've
bit overwhelming,
survived,
yeah.
because it's been quite a lot of work to learn all their repertoire. So yeah, and then I'm hoping to have a release out in February next year of my own
amazing.
stuff.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that for sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. One kind of quirky question that we tend to ask
yay.
at the end of our sessions interviews, and these have always been hilarious. So you're playing St Pancras Old Church with your dream collabs and dream kind of lineup. If you could have a rider before you or after you went on stage, what would it be and why?
Oh, amazing. What a good question. I want to
Literally
say
anything
something really
goes.
good, but so we're thinking food and drink, right? Not just like bringing a
It
load
could
of
be
guitars.
anything. I mean, we've had a micro goat before, so really anything goes.
Oh. I'm answering this terribly. Well, I think like a lot of rum,
Okay.
a lot of whiskey, and do you know what? Because I'm not very good at this stuff, and I know it's not really important. In the grand scheme of things, it isn't. But because I'm terrible at this stuff, and it was just one night we could have what you want, I think I'd have a hair and makeup artist. Is that
Ooh.
terrible?
No, not at all.
Because, just that one night only,
Yeah,
where
why
you
not?
just think, I might go on stage without a shiny face and bedraggled hair, and someone will put a photo online and tag me in it, and I just will be like, oh, that's nice. So, yeah, I think I'd splash out on like wardrobe.
Cool.
Yeah,
sounds
wardrobe.
good.
I
No
want
one
the
has said that
works.
before.
I
That's great.
basically want to be like Beyonce. I want like hair, makeup, wardrobe
Awesome.
before and after the gig. I'm going to regret saying that. It doesn't sound very empowered,
No,
does
not
it?
at all. It sounds wonderful.
Sasha Fierce for one night only.
Yes.
That's what I want. And world peace.
Yes, and world peace. If we can find out more about you, where can we go?
All the usual internet places,
Okay,
so Instagram and Facebook, and come sign up to my mailing list. You can get to that. So my website is just minniebirch.co.uk.
And that's 2 N's and an IE, correct?
Yeah, it's Minnie like the Disney mouse,
Yes.
Birch like the tree. And if you go to that,
You've done this
then
before.
if you go to that, then that'll link to whatever your favourite streaming or social mediaing thing is.
Amazing.
And then you can find me and come say hello.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I had so much fun.
Fall where the buildings fall, 'cause I am ready to know what our love feels like when the dust settles, when it settles. And rise, anger rise, because at least then he will know, and it will come as no surprise when I'm yelling at him to go, oh, to go. And oh, my love, I know I've dragged you through it, and through it all, how you have stayed. With every test designed just to fail you, you have tried over and over and over and over again. So grow, forest, grow, and then send in your wolves a bay, 'cause I lie with this hunter, and his love is not for my betraying. He's not for betraying. And oh, my love, I know I've dragged you through it, and through it all, how you have stayed. With every test designed just to fail you, you